The only thing that everyone has to imagine is what would your world be like if prices did fall by 50%? And their world, number one, they wouldn't have a job. So you either have to get on this bandwagon that these prices have been driven up and low interest rates are what did it. We can't go back to bring them back down. And if you can't accept that prices cannot go back down, then you can't do anything because prices are not going down.
Welcome to this episode of Real Estate Chat with Robert Eden.
Jonder Perez.
And Robert, question for you. In this fall market, fall 2024, is it possible that everybody's right about their opinion about what's happening in the real estate market?
Well, it's on pause right now, so everybody is right until something comes along and proves them to be wrong. And some will be right and some will be wrong. Like, what do you do with hurricanes? What do you do with elections? What do you do with wars and rumors of wars? And what do you do with everybody having an opinion about the USA bond yield going up and what it's going to mean for Canada? Everybody's flooding the information. It's information overload of are interest rates going up, interest rates going down? Are prices going up, are prices going down? Are sales good, are sales bad? What's going, so nothing is happening because everybody's confused because they're bombarded with conflicting information that normally indicates something bad is about to happen, but nothing bad is happening.
Well, we'll see.
Confusion.
Analysis paralysis and confusion. By the way, for those Real Estate Chat viewers who have liked and subscribed, the charts that we will be referring to when we analyze today's market update episode is available at www.unclebobexplains.com. Link is in the description. So you will see the usual charts. We're playing around with a different format today. For those of you who like to dive deep into the details, you can browse Robert's website and you can dissect the information and proof about everything you're saying all for yourself. www.unclebobexplains.com. Robert, real quickly, when we looked at the September 2024 market update released by the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board a few days ago, you said that prices are flat. I mean, some might say it's crashing because it dipped 1%, but let's face it, it hasn't really moved much. Sales have bumped up a little bit, which have been expected for the season, but not as quite as high as some might expect it. Active inventory is up by 35.5%, and listings up by 10%. And you talk about the cancel or terminate relist, which we can find out on your website. But days on market has also surged, which means basically that the market, I mean, the buyers are taking a lot longer to make a decision, and sellers are taking a lot longer to sell. So, Robert, what do we make out of all of this? And how do we navigate a market where in the fall we expected it to jump, but things are just moving along?
Well, there's a lag. And I am of the firm conviction, just like everybody else has a bias, that the worst is over. July was the bottom. And once we sort out this excess dearth or pile of inventory, so that right now we have a 20% variation in asking prices. You got something that shouldn't really be for sale, and you got somebody who's desperate to sell at the same time. Now, so the buyer is overwhelmed. He's got choices of everything. He says, "Why should I do anything? I'm gonna try and find a desperate seller, or I'm gonna do nothing until the perfect thing comes along. And I'm gonna wait for interest rates to come down and somebody tell me that I'm wrong to do that." So there's no reason to tell him that he's wrong to do that. And it's only when he's finally motivated enough to say, you know what? There's enough counter indications to what I was basing my opinion on before that I was wrong. And now I'm going to move to the next phase. And the next phase, I think, is up. Now, there's a lot of people that think the next phase is down. We have a major dilemma that's going to come as a direct or indirect result of the United States election and what's going to happen to interest rates and what are they doing in Iran and what are they doing in Israel. But that's not your world. Your world is in Toronto. Your world is in the backyard. Your world is in your family. So if you want to watch the news and get overwhelmed by it, go ahead. If you want to know what's happening in Toronto real estate, everybody is waiting just like you. So if you want us to give you an opinion of what's going to happen next, we can voice an opinion and we can tell you what's similar in the past has happened, but there's nothing like now that's ever happened before. So is that an answer? Yes. No, it's not.
Well, it's both new and not new. I mean, turmoil has happened before, things have happened before, and I think I guess, you know what, would it be fair, Robert, to say that fear is driving the market, or caution is driving the market, or even skepticism? Because look, rates have dropped, and one would think that with rates dropping, mortgages become a little bit affordable. In December, the government is going to release new measures to, you know, ease up on the 1 million to $1.5 million price point,
Yeah,
ease
yeah,
up on
yeah.
amortization. Basically, our viewers can take on larger loans and pay it off for a longer period of time and happily pay the interest and the CMHC premiums on that. I mean, you've got to credit the government. They are trying, and they are, you know, giving some sort of an effort into it. Is this
No,
going to
no
be
question
enough?
about that. The thing is this, the people who want prices to come down don't want to do anything until prices come down, or their job says, their assets say they can't pay any more than what was 15 years ago. So the only thing that everyone has to imagine is, what would your world be like if prices did fall by 50%? And their world, number one, they wouldn't have a job. So you either have to get on this bandwagon that these prices have been driven up and low interest rates are what did it. We can't go back to bring them back down. And if you can't accept that prices cannot go back down, then you can't do anything because prices are not going down. Now, why are they going to drop interest rates? Because it makes it more affordable. Now, does it double your affordability? No. It only makes it go up incrementally by 20%. Does that make the prices come down, the effective monthly payments come down by 50%? No. So, people have got to decide why they think what they think. If they're a permanent tenant, then they're a permanent tenant. That's what they think that way. If they think there's going to be a meltdown and we're all going to be trading in chipettes of gold, then, wait for it. Stock up on food, stock up on water, and wait for get a gun and reinforce the windows on your house. So people are waiting for something to tell them what's happening. And they would rather miss the bottom, but know that it's on the upswing than do anything else.
Well,
And
that's
you
what
can't blame
happens.
them for that. You can't
I
blame them for
mean,
that.
well, that's what happens, right? I mean, I guess call it herd mentality. I mean, everybody likes to work in groups and crowds because they like to have others validate their decision. So buyers who were hoping and praying for inventory, well, inventory listings of homes have been massively showered onto the market, and now you don't want to buy anything. And some of these prices, to be fair, I mean, they're off peak. We're about how much percent off peak at this point, Robert?
17, 19, depending on where you look.
Yeah, so you're saving a fifth on the price of a home that you would have bought at a much higher price. I mean, and I guess to conclude, Robert's point is, you know, basically you do you. And that's what we've always said on this channel. Yes, we're both real estate brokers. Yes, it is in our best interest to help you buy and sell a home. At the end of the day, we're not selling anything here aside from giving you insight and a bit of education into what's going on in the market. So, Robert, conclusion for sellers and buyers? Let's start with buyers.
Oh, what buyers? You just look everywhere that you think you would like to live. And can you afford that price range? If you can't, then if you can't expand your budget by 20%, expand your territory by 20%. Look, look, look real hard. You're looking for one desperate seller. The market is going to be better next spring. I thought it was going to be better in October. I'm late. I was predicting too much of a reaction. There's other things that have come along that have slowed things down so that everybody has gone back to let's wait and see. And
All right,
so, okay,
sellers.
I'll wait and see.
Sellers, some of them, as you said, is desperate. We can't play both sides of this equation, but what would we tell the sellers to do?
You sell them, what are you going to do with the money? Why are you selling? That there's this competition, this competition, this competition. Do you want to compete with 15 people or do you want to wait till there's only five? And what are you going to do next? Do you have an urgency for that? You can whatever you lose here, you're going to buy on the pick up on the buy. So you can do it as a transition. If you're a first time buyer, well, we already talked about buyers. If you're a seller, well, pick your spots. If this is your spot, take advantage of it. You were going to sell it for $200,000 15 years ago. Now you're going to sell it for 2.1. Like, don't be greedy that you won't take 1.8.
Seller or buy first?
Only with what you're comfortable. It's the sleep at night rule that if you cannot sleep at night because you're going to worry about it, then you don't do it. Now, if you have the financial wherewithal to buy and then sell, that's how you do it because that's how you will grab something that needs to be grabbed and close it. But sometimes we run into problems with banks of how am I going to do the bridge financing? Oh, I'm sure I can do that. And then just some roadblock comes up and you're into, vulture financing. It's very difficult. So I'm going to say, put your property up for sale and start looking. And whichever happens first is what happens first. But then you'll
As you've
know how
always
to juggle the time.
as you've always said, do the more difficult thing first. So thanks for watching this episode of Real Estate Chat. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you check out Robert's charts to see an in-depth and detailed review of the market update, www.unclebobexplains.com. Reach out to us if you have any questions. Take care. Bye for now.
See you later.